What's up, guys and girls? Welcome to Freedive Passion. Today's subject is something which is very important to me as a coach, and it's very important to anybody who's looking to progress in their freediving. The subject is positive and negative associations, and if you want to know more, stay tuned. So, what do I mean by positive and negative associations? Essentially, we're talking about our perception of challenge, how challenging we think a certain thing is going to be, right? So obviously we can talk about freediving, but this is something which will apply to all areas of your life. Yes. So if you have an experience of freediving which is not relaxing, not comfortable, stressful, and this experience has something to do with freediving in general or a specific depth or a specific part of your freediving, then you're going to create a connection in your mind to this negative state, this feeling of discomfort, lack of relaxation, and the situation that you're in. So we would say this is a negative association. And the same works vice versa, right? So if we thoroughly enjoy and find something very, very comfortable and pleasurable, then we're going to create a positive association to this thing. Yes. So it's all about our past experience. From our past experiences, we sort of create a map in our mind of what is pleasurable, what is uncomfortable. One thing that's kind of interesting to understand is that it can take time to create positive associations, but all it would take is one negative experience and it will totally wipe out all these positive experiences. This is something which is fundamental to us as humans. It's not just a freediving thing. If we need to survive, right? Like all animals want to survive. So from our experience, if we realize something is dangerous, then the body is going to put things into place which is going to help us to avoid this situation. It's going to make us try and not put ourselves in this situation again, right? This is what we call trauma. And in freediving, most people have some sort of trauma at some point in their diving. And if you think back to, I'm speaking generally, some people might have different experience, but most people, when you think back to your introduction to freediving, generally it's going to be a freediving course, right? And just the way the course is structured, normally it's going to be a 2-day course. If you're lucky, 2.5 days, maybe 3 days. You go from maybe never freediving before or just doing a duck dive to 1 or 2 meters to potentially diving to 20 meters. And there's no way this will be in a totally controlled, comfortable, relaxed way. It's gonna be more of like you're building yourself up to do something which is challenging, a little bit stressful. Okay, maybe you will enjoy it. Like I remember in the beginning for me in freediving, this is what freediving was to me. It gave me the same thrill as jumping off a cliff or surfing big waves. It was this type of activity to me. But this is like absolutely the wrong way to see freediving if you want to progress and go deeper, right? This is going to stand in your way, like completely, because it's not going to give us the space to pay attention to the subtleties that we need in order to go deeper, right? So just our introduction to freediving means we go to the pool, we do a max static when we don't know what CO2 is, we don't know what it is to hold a breath. Then we do a max dynamic, again, totally new experience, stressful, hard. We go to the water, new skills are just thrown at us, and we've got to try and reach a new depth. Next time we go to the water, a new depth. Next time we go to the water, a new depth. Every time you're getting pushed further and further out your comfort zone without having time to just settle into a certain depth or settle into a certain skill. So this whole time, this is our first experience to freediving, and this is what freediving becomes to us. So freediving becomes this kind of like stressful, challenging way to like push ourselves, prove ourselves, right? And this is the association that we have created to this thing. And for sure, some people just get stuck right away. Most people get stuck at some point, for sure. Why? Because they keep this same mentality. They keep trying to go deeper and deeper with this pushing, stressy mentality, because that's what freediving is to them. That's how they've been introduced to it, and they don't know any different. People don't know how to train, right? So you're just reinforcing these negative associations. This is stressful, this is hard, right? So then my job as a coach is to start to create positive associations, to start to eliminate this perception of challenge when it comes to freediving. And challenge, if something feels like overly challenging, well, the reason is it's because you're not fully prepared for this thing, right? So you don't have the adequate experience, knowledge, and skills to do the thing that you're asking yourself to do. And we're talking about freediving, so we're talking about depth, right? If you're not hitting the depth, totally controlled, 100% sure you're gonna make it, 100% sure you're gonna make back, then there's skills that you're missing, right? We also need to think about progression, how quickly you add depth. If you add depth too quickly, you haven't had time for these new depths to sort of absorb and for you to assimilate these depths and for you to just believe deep down in your core that you're capable of this thing. If you keep adding depth, the perception of challenge rises too quickly, and for sure you'll start to have bad dives again. So I, first of all, build skills, I build confidence, and I ensure that each dive as we're progressing is totally in control, with confidence and feeling good, you know? Then we can add. And what this is doing is changing your perception of challenge. You can change perception of challenge without even going deeper. So for instance, if you just repeat a depth, even though the depth stays the same, most likely your perception of that depth is going to change through the repetition. It's going to feel easier because you've already done it before. You know what you need to do. You have a higher level of confidence than if you would repeat it a third time. It's even a higher level of confidence, which then, allows you to progress from there. But even like with this, even with all this work, all it would take would be one bad dive for trauma to appear. And it can be like 5-10 dives to overwrite this trauma, to overcome this perception of challenge. So the idea is to avoid doing too much too soon, to always be like certain that you've built the skills and knowledge and you can feel that you can do the thing that you're able to do. I mean, the sad thing is there's so few coaches out there that can spend the time to develop these skills and to develop this confidence, and that courses don't do it like at all. By nature, a course is putting people out of their comfort zone, just because there's too much information in too short of a time, and everybody wants to pass the course. You already have this sort of target, this aim, this objective, so people are likely to push themselves way out of their comfort zone, do whatever they have to do to get to the depth and create this trauma, right? This is why so many people get stuck in freediving when actually it's not such a complicated sport. If somebody spends the time to explain to you exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it. So, this is just a brief overview of a complicated subject, but I hope maybe it resonates to some people out there, and maybe you can understand that at its core there's no such thing as a challenging dive. Like, freediving itself isn't challenging. Freediving too deep too soon is challenging. Freediving without the skills to go to that depth is challenging. Freediving when you're not ready is challenging. Increasing depth too quickly is challenging. But that doesn't have to be what freediving is. Freediving can be totally in control, totally calm, totally confident with what you're asking yourself to do. Not trying to get down and trying to get up. No, it's enjoying every moment on the way down and every moment on the way up. this is the beauty of freediving, to be in the moment, in this situation, calm, controlled, at peace. Cool. So I hope this resonates, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, then like or share, subscribe. If you want to come see me or do something with me, I've got a few things coming up. The most exciting thing right now is an expedition in Baja, California, where I'm going to do an introduction to ethical spearfishing. We're going to be a group. Each day we'll go out as a group and catch just enough fish for us to eat that night, meaning not everybody will get a fish, meaning if the first person to dive catches enough fish for the rest of us, we stop spearfishing, and then we continue just exploring the coast and the sea to check out the amazing marine life of Baja. I spent last winter there, and like, I've never seen anything like it. It made me so happy, like right down in my soul, to see this a place still so abundant with wildlife, an ocean so abundant with marine life as well. Like, so if you want more information about that, then head over to my website or send me a message. Obviously, I'm doing in-person coaching. My dates are on the website too. Maybe there'll be some stuff happening in Mexico and in Europe next year, so just stay tuned. You can follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of stuff over on Instagram as well. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, guys and girls, take it easy and dive safe.